Okay, so we are back here at the West Texas Songwriters Championships, and I am here with one of our superstars, one of the more decorated individuals to grace the interview venue, if you will, and Ephraim Goff. Did I say that right?
Ephraim Goff, Ephraim Goff, either way.
Ephraim Goff, and he won the best song last year with Up So Late. And talk about that a little bit.
Well, last year was just a blast being a part of the West Texas Singer-Songwriter Championship. Jimmy's a really good friend of mine. I've actually been playing music alongside of him for the last 3 or 4 years, helping him produce different shows, get venues lined up. I have a kind of a background, deep background in music and managing music and musicians. So I've had a lot of experience. So he brought me on board. He really liked my music, and I just got to kind of share that last year. And really not even trying, but I made it to second place and won that best song award, which was just
Is
a
that
nice
what?
badge.
Is that this right here playing behind us on the monitor?
This song in particular, I'm not sure. I played a lot of songs this night. More than likely, I mean, that's one of my standards. It's what I played every show. I wrote it back when I was 17, 18,
Right.
and it's just been a big hit with all of my fans, all of the people that I've played it for, and so it's just kind of become a standard in my set list.
And you, what do you moonlight as? Or I mean, do you do this? Are you touring professionally, or are you?
Um, a while ago, I would say probably about 6 or 7 years ago, this is what I was doing professionally. This is kind of where my life was headed. I put all my time, money, and invested all of that heavily into music. I was gigging every weekend. I was booking shows. I ended up managing two other musicians and booking shows for them. I taught myself recording, kind of built my own recording studio.
Really?
Yeah, and I was recording for other artists, other local artists here in Abilene and in Lubbock. And so I kind of was doing that up until I was 21, and then I just had this kind of departure from my desire to do music as a career. I kind of came to this fork in the road where I felt like I was doing my music, what I loved so much, became more about notoriety and fame and less about what I loved and what was the music. And so I kind of made a decision that I would rather walk away from it as a career to keep my love for the music than to
Really?
continue on. And so I just kind of stopped playing for a year or two, didn't perform at all. And I actually went to school to become an EMT. So currently, right now, I'm working as a full-time EMT in Anson, Texas. And so this is kind of what I just do for fun. I mean, last year I won, and it was so close that the judges said it was actually a tenth of a point that separated last year's winner, Jonathan Hester, and myself.
Right.
And when they asked me, they're like, is there anything you think you could have done to win that, to bring it home? I was like, I could have tried. Like, I was like, I really didn't try. I wrote a song like the night before, played a couple of my old like original standbys, like Up So Late was one of them, and I didn't practice at all before the show.
Is this at the station right here?
This is actually at the Zone,
Is it at
the
the
Zone Bar and Grill off of South 14th.
Okay.
And so, I just kind of do it for fun now. It's just a passion of mine. I love writing. I love performing. So it's just been a joy to have something like this, just get my music out there and share it with people.
Right. So let me get this straight, because this is not something most people would normally do. So essentially, you got to the point where you were in the glamour aspect outweighed the passion aspect. Is that a good way to put it? Or
Yes, I was getting a lot of notoriety around West Texas. I was starting to branch out into kind of the Austin, Dallas area. And my music got heard by a couple of recording record labels, and they actually on the spot offered me contracts. And I was kind of, I don't know, I guess I kind of was a little cocky at that time. I was kind of young, and I was like, you know what, it's all about the love of the music. I don't want to be a sellout, so I actually turned them down, which was, I don't know if it was a good or a bad decision, but I don't regret it. I mean, I ended up walking away from it a few years later, so I'm kind of glad that I didn't get like signed into a contract where I had to keep doing it, despite feeling kind of this, I guess, moral conflict about it. So
right. And so what's unique about this competition is you guys are required to. It's not your typical at all karaoke contest. You guys are required to write your own song, perform the song, and then effectively from there, like it's all 100% authentic, original.
yeah, there's absolutely, for the competition part, there's absolutely no covers allowed. It has to be 100% original music, and it really is kind of free form the way Jimmy puts it on. It doesn't even have to be necessarily singing. We've had a couple of instrumental artists. We've had a couple of hip hop. We had a lot of indie. We've had a couple of country artists, some really fantastic country artists. So it's just really been kind of a hodgepodge of really what the big country has to offer. And it is about singing and songwriting and not necessarily those exclusively. It can just be songs. It can just be singing. I mean, we've had a couple of a cappella artists come up.
Yeah, I saw some rappers out there in the semi.
Stack their stuff up against everybody else. So it's really just an opportunity for any genre to come and put their best foot forward and really, show off their feathers.
Right, right. So if you now, provided what you already said had happened with you, you were touring and you were kind of into living the dream. Then all of a sudden you said it, like the glamour aspect kind of took over. If you were to win this competition, you go down to South Beach, you get you head to Graceland of music opportunity, and you open up for Crystal Gale at the Lumberyard.
Yeah.
So I mean, would you slide back from the EMT job and just go back into the music industry, or would you just keep? I mean, how does that work out for you?
Well, for me, honestly, what I did last year was actually something I had agreed with Jimmy, the guy who kind of started the West Texas Singer-Songwriter Championship, was that even if I did win, I was literally on the cusp of my son being born. He was being born 2 weeks after the date of the finale. So I told him, I was like, on the off chance that I do win, give it to the second place winner. They deserve it more than I do because I don't want this. I mean, for me, music is purely just a passion, a joy, and a love. It's something that I do because I love it.
Right.
Fame and notoriety may or may not come. I personally don't care. And honestly, I've already told Jimmy, on the off chance I win this year, I'm probably just going to give that to the person, to the second place, or to whoever he deems.
So did you win last year and just give it to the second place? Or
no, Jonathan Hester honestly won, but they said it was so close. They were so torn, and that kind of was the difference. Was I just showed up in plain clothes, and Jonathan Hester, he showed up looking like $1 million. He came, he put out because that's what he wanted, and I think that's why he took it, is because he wanted it, and they could tell he wanted it.
Okay.
I wanted to be there to support my friends and my musical family in the area, and it was just a joy of mine to just play there and be a part of that. And I had no intention of winning. And I have no intention of winning this. I'm doing it because I love it.
Right. So. Now given that philosophy, coming into the top 20 final next week at the station, do you think that those judges, given that they know your attitude or whatever, or your philosophy or your standpoint, for lack of better terms, does that hinder you or obstruct you from ultimate, knowing that you don't really you're apathetic towards this, or?
I mean, if they were to hear this interview, they might be like, oh, well, I heard that interview, maybe he won. They might think maybe that I had the musical skill or talent to dominate, whatever they would think, and give it to somebody else that would, maybe in second place, and they might just decide, well, you know what, if he doesn't want it, why waste the notoriety on him and give it to someone else, which is honestly what I would hope happened if on the off chance I did win, because my heart is not in making a career out of this. It is just purely because I love doing this, and as a support to my friend Jimmy and all the other musicians, is to to help build them up and build up this West Texas Singer-Songwriter Championship. And just because I found a passion in EMS as well, and I found that I have to choose one of the two things, and so it seems that for me right now, my path is that working in EMS and having a stable job is what's best for me and my family. And so it's made it an easy choice to say, okay, I don't want this for notoriety. I just want this for the love of it, just the joy of it. So. Right.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have our first contestant in history that does not want to win the competition. So
that doesn't mean I'm not going to do my best. Everything I put my mind to, if I get to step out on stage, I'm going to do my absolute best. But it's just kind of comes with the territory with what I want to do.
Right. Well, you have been a stand-up act tonight. It was a pleasure watching you perform, and thank you for the interview. We will see you guys next week at the station, and don't rule them out, even though apparently doesn't want to win.
All right, peace. Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Thank
Jack.
you. I can cut that out, if the end it out if you want. Like, I'm just